Yes, good day, everyone. Welcome to the Vidafy Training. As I explained about in the former training a few weeks ago, we're going to go into hardcore network marketing, and that has to do with the change of strategies. Okay, because we already explained that we are doing two ways. Okay, so we're taking the network marketing path, and we also use our marketing machine. Now, I know that Sven is working like crazy on the marketing machine. He's getting more and more data. He's getting happier as a real marketeer because the price of each person that subscribes to the system is going down. Now, for the marketing, that's awesome. So imagine that when you want to bring people into a system like this, the way we are doing it, we need, of course, thousands of people. And that's the goal, and not only in the Netherlands, but also in other countries. So in a couple of weeks or months, we're also going to open like Germany and Italy and other countries. And then it's very important that you have the data. I keep hearing little beeps. Is that only for me, or can we turn it off?
It's people coming in. So
Okay. Yeah. So what you want in terms of marketing perspective, what you always want is to pay at least as possible for a subscription. So when somebody gets into the system, you pay as little as possible. And that is what Sven is doing at the moment. And that takes actually a couple of months before you have the lowest price. And he knows from his experience, what price we need to scale it up. Okay, so that's one part, that's the marketing part. And Sven has explained the entire system also in former trainings. Now, what I usually do is I build teams, okay? And I have become pretty good at that because it's just, it's a strategy. And once you know how to do that, you can multiply it. So what I do, I build teams. And if you know how to do that, the interesting thing is you can do it in any kind of business. It doesn't matter. You can put me in a vitamin machine, you can put me in gold, you can put me in water purifiers, you can make me sell tables, because all I do is I build teams. The only conditions that I have for myself is that I need to be a supporter of the product. Okay, I need to have a feeling with the product, otherwise I cannot get excited. So I need to know that the product is good that I'm selling. Or at least that I can support it full-heartedly. So, and that means when we talk about vitamins or supplements, that I am willing to take it myself. Okay, if I find a vitamin or a supplement that I don't want to take myself, there's no point for me in joining any system. Okay, I cannot sell, or I cannot tell my story when I'm not excited about the product. That doesn't mean I need results, because I also know by now that many of the supplements that we take are very good for us, but many times we don't notice the difference. For example, maybe not you, but about 80% of the general public has a deficiency on vitamin D. We know that. A lot of people have a shortage of vitamin D, but people don't know it, okay? So even when you take a lot of vitamin D, it doesn't mean that you definitely notice something, but your body will notice it. You will become more healthy. Okay, so today we're going to talk about the second skill in network marketing, and that is the invitation skill. And for me, that's the most important one. So the first one is finding people, and that is in the former training. So if you missed that one, please check out the community. Finding people, it sounds very simple, but there are many ways in finding people that you might not have thought about. And the second skill is inviting people. How do you invite someone for a webinar or a presentation? And the interesting thing is, once you start doing the hardcore network marketing part, is that you are training a skill that you can use in many facets of your life. It changed my entire life just becoming a network marketer. And why? I think mostly because you get resistance, and with resistance we get strong. So if you have followed my path for the last 3 years, I started to speak out like crazy. Why? Because I'm a network marketer. I don't care what people think about me. And I'm definitely 100% sure that if I was not trained in network marketing the way I was trained, I would have been quiet. Probably I would have been quiet. It would have taken a lot of more effort to speak out about the things that I think. But now the interesting thing is, because I spoke out, I now have a following of 25,000 people. Now, how is that for a change? I didn't have 25,000 people as a following. I have 12,000 people following me in Salsa Ventura, but those are the ones that do not agree with me. So I had 12,000 people following me, being very excited about my dance classes. And then I started speaking out about what I think about the government and what I think about banks, for example, and the coronavirus, with respect for everyone. I mean, you don't have to agree with me, but then I like to be respectfully to disagree. Okay, always in a respectful manner. I respect everyone. But what I noticed is that I had very little respect, and that was not strange because we had a government that were not respecting those people that were speaking out. And I'm one of them. Now, if I was not trained in network marketing, I would not have a following of 25,000 people. Why? Because once you start to share your message, and it can be in vitamins, it can be in gold, it can be about social matters, about society. Once you start sharing something, you might get resistance. And you can become extremely good in dealing with resistance. And now your little mind, because there are always two angels. You have your white angel that is giving you all the compliments. You're doing a great job. Fantastic. Keep going. And then you have your dark angel. You're doing shit. You don't know anything. People don't like you. Nobody is waiting for you. Shut up, be quiet, sit in the corner, do nothing, you're a failure. That's your dark angel. And that is there basically to protect you. It's not there with a bad intention. It's protecting you from all the pain that you probably experience between 0 and 7. That's when we are totally programmed with all the negative emotions. And many times we had a father or a mother or a grandmother that said some things that hurt us between 0 and 7, and we're still trying to cope with it. Okay, now network marketing is the ideal university of life where you can learn how to deal with that. Because basically, at this point in life, I just don't care anymore. And once you start doing that, it's a huge relief. It's a huge relief because you can make your total choices from your authentic self. Because I don't care what people think of me. And that is why it's so easy to share an opportunity. Because I believe in the opportunity. And if you believe also, you can just share it, okay? So we're going to talk about inviting people. Now, as always, I build a presentation. It's also easier for me. And this is the 7 skills. Now, I always tell you the source because that's quite important for me. And let me see, I miss my button where I can make it a PowerPoint and make it a big screen. Yes, here we go. Okay, so back to the 7 skills. This is the beautiful circle of Eric Worre. Okay, Eric Worre. I will put his name again in the chapters because I learned a lot from him. He built the structure. I was trained by a guy in Holland. He was the #1 in network marketing for many, many years throughout Europe. And that was my personal coach. And I was taking the structures of Eric Worre. Okay, and it's ideal. So today we're going to look at inviting people. And of course, I started to add my own experience because I now have a lot of experience for over 6-7 years in network marketing. So whatever I deal with and whatever I experience, I share with you. Now, the question is this: do you want to be a farmer or do you want to be a hunter? That is the question, because in network marketing, people become hunters. You know that when you're at a party and you see those people coming at you and they start throwing all those vitamins and supplements at your head, and you should see this and you should see that, etc. Then you are a hunter. Most people are hunting. And in network marketing, you don't want to be a hunter. Okay, you want to be a farmer. You just want to be relaxed. You just want to invite people. Nobody has to do anything. If it's not for them, then it's totally fine. Then you move on. We have 7 billion people on this planet of Earth. There are more than just one, okay? So what you will notice about inviting people is that mostly it's a mindset. And the first part of the mindset, I always tell people, please become a farmer. Do not become a hunter. We are not hunting at people or prospects, okay? It's the same like selling. We are not selling. Okay, we are inviting. We are not selling. It's very important to know what you the way you want to behave and how not to behave. Because many times when you start doing something new, you have a very limited view of your own behavior because you're too full with thinking, okay? And then you are leaving the heart, okay? So you always try to make the connection. Now, I know one thing, that when I'm sitting on my knees here in my little garden and I'm plucking some tomatoes, I'm totally heart connected. I don't have so much to think about, okay? So that's why we call it farming. Now, what are you going to invite them to? That's very interesting because there are many, many ways that we are building within Vidafy that you can invite people to. Okay, so you have to wonder first, what are you inviting them to? And this can be some examples. Are you inviting them for a webinar? That's our main strategy at the moment in Vidafy, in our group. Are you inviting them for a replay? Are you inviting them to read an article about curcuma or turmeric? Are you inviting them for a small video that Roy Martina makes? Are you inviting them for a live seminar, which is totally different? Are you inviting them for a meeting, online or offline? A Facebook Live, Instagram Live, a live event? Okay, there are many things to invite them to. So the first thing you have to wonder is what am I doing? What am I going to invite them to? Okay, so, and there are many different ways of doing that. I'm going to give you some examples in this training. Then the second thing is, how are you going to invite them? Because there are many ways of doing that, but it's very interesting. Because when I went to some meetings at my first network marketing company, I was happy with just one person that would join me. And many times it would be a friend or a family member because I couldn't find anyone. And maybe you find it strange if you hear me now and go like, okay, how are you doing it now? Because now I get a lot of people, first of all, because I have a big following, but even without my following, I now know how to invite people in a way that they actually show up. And in the beginning, nobody showed up. And even when I was buying tickets, because before the corona, we had a lot of live events, and I was buying tickets for people to join an event. And I would pay easily 40, 50 euros for a ticket. Now everything went online, but it was quite frustrating to buy tickets and then getting people saying one day before, yes, sorry, something came in between, I cannot make it. And I was throwing 50 euros away. Okay. So I would go to those meetings and I would see people with 10 invitees. I would see people with 10 people around them. I'm like, how do they do that? It took me weeks to get just one. And then I would always, invite my sister, my brother, my best friends. Can you join me? Because I just had a cancellation of someone else. Well, that's not a nice invitation, okay? Somebody else did not show up, so now you can come. So I was always wondering, how are they doing that? And they have a skill. And today I'm going to show you the skill because I did not follow those trainings yet. No, nobody was teaching me how to do it. Okay. So some people were trying to teach me, but there was also some self-limitation. So how to invite them makes a big difference. Now, first, there are some rules to take into account. Okay. And I'm pretty sure that if you invited some people already, you might start finding some, how do you say, the recognition in the examples. Take a look. First, the mindset. Get yourself out of the way. Okay. Your mindset should be get yourself out of the way. Now, for some people, that's not a problem because some people are very modest. They have a very small ego, etc. But if you're like me and you like to talk and you like to tell stories and you have quite some egocentric part in you, you have to become self-aware of that. Okay. So what I was doing in the beginning, because I find myself a pretty good talker, I started telling people the entire story myself without any experience because I thought that was the way. Now, first of all, it doesn't work because other people cannot duplicate that because it's very personal skill to know how to talk. But the second thing is, it is not about you. It was not about me, but by me inviting people in a way that I was telling the whole story, I was actually telling them that it was about me. So I had to learn to get myself out of the way. So then you get to pointing, reading, introducing, telling a story. Okay, and that's interesting. So all we want to do is just to point. You just want to say, okay, look over there. Look over there. There's a nice presentation. There is a nice webinar. There is a nice seminar, etc. Just point. read this. I have a nice article. Okay, so pointing, reading, just tell them to read something. Hey, nice article about curcuma. Introducing them to the system or introducing them to a person, and maybe tell a story. But remember, it's not about you. Okay, so some people also within Vidafy, they send me one-on-one messages and they ask me, okay, I'm having an appointment with someone. Can you tell me how to give a presentation? I always say, that's the last thing you want to do. What you want to do, you want to connect with them, but you don't want to give a presentation. This is why we have Roy, because Roy knows everything about the products and just send them to the webinar. So all you do when you have a coffee, invite them to a webinar in a way that they show up. Okay, and that's what you're going to learn today. Okay, so all you do is you point, you read, you introduce, and you tell a story about a tool or an event. And we have a beautiful tool because we have the curcuma products. That is our tool. So you can sample, and you can also find the training about the sampling within the community. Okay, we have samples. That is our tool. And we have events. And we work a lot with our online webinars. Okay, so this is the first thing for the mindset. Get yourself out of the way. You don't have to do it yourself. And then we get the 7 rules. 7 rules for inviting people. First, be emotionally detached from the outcome. I literally, and I'm serious, I literally cried because sometimes people would not show up. You know, I let tears over that. And people, many times, they don't know the path, you know, before you get to the point where you see someone. You know, I know that Roy Martina, he is a 6-time karate champion. We don't know the path that he walked to get there. Okay, that doesn't just come from, you know, from talent. You need to train very hard. So once you start inviting people to a webinar or a seminar and people show up, many times you don't know the way how they did that. But please be emotionally detached from the outcome, because sometimes you are so disappointed that people will not show up that it takes your whole energy away. Okay, so first be detached, just invite them. And if you take yourself out of the equation and you just focus on them and they say, hey, sorry, I cannot make it, then the nice question is, what would love do? Would love be frustrated? Would love get angry at the other person? Would love tell the other person that they shouldn't disappoint you? No. When you go back to love, to connection, to your heart, then you would just say, hey, that's very bad for you. What can we do to make a new appointment? You just stay patient. It's not about you. Just focus on the other one. Okay, so this is the first one. Second, be yourself. And I think this is the hardest, especially when you learn something new. It's very hard to be your authentic self. But this one is nice. Be yourself. Everyone else is already taken. You don't have to become someone else. Now, I must say, I learned a lot becoming myself by looking at others that were already themselves. Okay, you can tell if people are themselves. You can tell if people are doing a trick. So I learned a lot from people who were already themselves, and just watch them and just listen to them and just see how they respond and what kind of actions they take. And you can learn a lot from them by becoming more yourself. And what many times help is take some time off for yourself. Do some Vipassana meditation for 10 weeks. Then you will meet with your real self. I don't know if you ever did a Vipassana meditation, but I was shocked, man. After 3 days, what is this? Is this like a mental institute? I had a hard time. 10 days without speaking, without any contact, just being by yourself, sitting still for 10 to 12 hours a day. If you want to meet your real self, sign up for a Vipassana. And money should not be the problem because they offer it totally for free. There's no way, there's no excuse for money this time. Okay, so I learned a lot about myself sitting still 10 hours a day for 10 full days. Okay, then you will find yourself, and you especially find a lot about your own mind. You know, your monkey mind. We all have a monkey mind. You just jump all over the place. Okay, so be yourself. And you better fail by being yourself than succeed by being someone else. Okay, I will repeat that. You prefer to fail by being your authentic self than succeeding by doing a trick. Okay, if you succeed by doing a trick, it's always short term, and it will definitely not make you happy, and it will not make the other one happy either. You can do a trick. I see many tricks coming by all the time on YouTube. People are selling things, etc. You can tell them they're not themselves. Okay, so you better fail by being yourself. Why? Because then you also stand up by being yourself. Nobody stands up by being an imitation of someone else. And by falling and standing up, we call that falling forward. When you are in action and you fall, you always fall forward. And the question is, when you fall in action, do you fall forward or back? You always fall forward. And when you stand up, you're a little bit further than before. Okay, so remember that, please. Then bring in some passion. And I don't know if you know this movie with Al Pacino, Scent of a Woman. Now, if the first thing that I was thinking when I was preparing this presentation, and I thought, one example of passion. Now, the nice thing is that Al Pacino is such a good actor that he can step fully and heartily as almost being his true self by putting this on display. And if you never watched the movie, just look for this part and you will find some passion. Okay, you have those actors that can just totally get into that hole, and it's a beautiful part, some passion. Now, there are many ways to be passionate. Okay, this is only one example that I find very attractive, but you can also find passion in, for example, Eckhart Tolle, who is totally, very much his authentic self, being much softer by bringing some passion. Okay. Now, you can only bring passion if you are excited about the product or service. Okay, so, and this is very difficult, I understand. Okay, so when you go to passion, when you don't have a lot of experience, it can be quite a challenge to become very passionate about something. Okay, and this is like, how do you say that? Cause and effect. So you need the experience to become exciting. Okay, and to become excited. But the only way to get excited, you need the experience. So it's vice versa. So by sitting still and just watching trainings, it's not going to help. So you have to get out of your chair and have to take action. What is very attractive within network marketing is urgency. And that means that you can be in a high speed. So if I talk to people that are in a very low pace, it takes away my energy. That goes for me. Maybe you get energy from it, but for a lot of people, that's the same. So when I invite you for a webinar, I go, hey, do you have 5 minutes? If I would call them or if I would send them a WhatsApp, do you have 2 minutes for me? And then I would probably call them. Or I'm in a Zoom, which is totally not about Vidafy. And I'm with someone and say, hey, Winston, do you have 2 minutes for me after the meeting? Just 2 minutes. And then you also keep it 2 minutes. Hey, have you heard about this or that? And that, just quick. Because I don't want to take too much time of the other one, because I am inviting them to something that I want to invite them to. So it's not on their calendar. Okay. So some urgency. So instead of just sitting down for 2 hours and talk to invite someone, put some urgency in it. Do you have 2 minutes? And just make it fast. A strong posture. And that many times what helped me in the beginning, when I did not have a strong posture yet, I would close my eyes before I would invite someone, and I would go back to memories. I would go back to experiences that I would have shown a strong posture. And I would just imagine myself in that situation, go, okay, I am someone that can take a strong posture. And by going to memories, just fully being in the memory, I would feel my posture actually change, literally, physically. I would feel my posture change. So what you can do, you can go back to memories and ask yourself, when was the last time, it can also be a long time ago, when I felt that I had a very strong posture? Just go back. We all have those memories. So when you go back there, it can help you a lot to get into the strong posture. Okay. Then believe in your company and product. I already said it. And many times it's just following the company. Just read all the news about it. Watch the Facebooks. Watch the Instagram. Just see what the company is doing. And what I see with Vidafy, the fact that they're opening Europe, because they actually said from March onward, we are going to open Europe. And I was like, well, we will see, because it's not easy to open an entire continent like Europe. But what happened, they actually did. And they basically even chose the Netherlands to start distributing the products. So when you see those developments, it's very nice for your own enthusiasm to know more about the company, okay? And that grows a lot of belief, okay? So you need belief in your company and product. And the last one, have an abundance mindset. Okay, there is enough for everyone. If somebody says no to an invitation, go to the next. There are more people on planet Earth than just that one person, okay? And abundance means there is enough. You don't have to stress, okay? So these are basically like the 7 rules for invitation. Okay, this is many times your attitude. This has a lot to do with the attitude that you bring into a conversation. Okay, now how to prepare? How to prepare? Make a plan. Okay, if you really start inviting people, let's say 1 day a week for only 2 hours or 3-4 hours a week, make a plan. Who are you going to invite? What day are you going to pick to invite them? What tools are you going to use to invite them? Are you using WhatsApp? Are you using Facebook? Do you want to call them? Do you have a meeting? For example, today at 2 o'clock, I have a meeting with a friend of mine. I don't see him very often. And then immediately, but now it becomes very organic, I start to wonder like, hey, can I invite him to try a product? So I take my vitamins with me. I already did it yesterday, put them in my bag, have the vitamins with me, the Vidafy product, and I will give it to him as a present. And I will say, hey, and then I always ask, you can watch the video, how to give it, how to give away a sample. And then I say, okay, first of all, I'm always interested in his health, of course. Are you okay? Do you know anyone? And many times people have health problems. And then I say, okay, so look, I'm into this new product. Are you willing to try for 30 days? I'm not going to give you a few drops in your coffee. Are you willing to try it for 30 days? Just do it for, as a try. And then 1 week later or a few days later, I will ask him, hey, have you tried? And many times you hear, no, it's still in the package. So what I taught you in the sampling, when I sit down with him, I have a meeting in Utrecht, I will open the bottle at the place and I just put it in our drinks, just at the spot. Okay, so that's how you sample. But watch the training about sampling. So you make a plan, you write down your goal. How many people do you want in your invitation list? And it's totally incredible how that works. Because if you put your target on inviting 10, you probably get about 2 or 3. If you put your goal at about 50, you probably get about 20. I don't know how that works, but that's how it works. So write down your goal, okay? And find the right moment. And the right moment is for you. Huh? That's the moment that you can block your time, that you definitely know, okay, now I'm going to invite people. And it's very nice to do it because you will learn throughout the process. It will start as not a very nice experience, but you will end up liking it. But you need the experience to start liking it, okay? Then we have 2 ways. You have the me story and we have the third party. Now, as I told you, especially in the beginning, when you do not have a lot of, how do you say, when you don't have a very strong reputation, we always use the third party, okay? So you can tell your me story if it's authentic and if you have your own experience. So for example, if you have been using the product and you have noticed a lot of difference, you can definitely tell your me story, for sure. But if you don't have that yet, which is totally fine, you can always use a third party. And I must say, me personally, I use the name of Roy because I know that first, he has a very big audience. People know him. I take him very highly when it comes down to testing products, and he has tested it and is still testing it actually. And he's very excited. So I thought, okay, when Roy likes it, it must be good because I know Roy for like 30 years. I saw him actually coming to Holland. I told you the story before, okay? So prepare. You're going to bring your me story or a third party story. Now there's something very interesting. Look at this. If you are this person and you invite someone that you know, then there is trust. Okay, so if you invite someone that you know, the trust is never an issue. Okay, and you should remember that when you invite people, because many times people think that the other one is not trusting you, but it's not about trust. It's not. So if you are in connection with someone where the trust is already there, many times it has to do with respect when it comes down to the product or service. If you are not a medical doctor, if you do not have a reputation in the field of supplementation, if you do not have a reputation, who are you to invite someone for a webinar? People they trust you as a person, but not because you know a lot about vitamins or supplementation or network marketing. So that's why we take a third party. This is why you don't want to tell the whole story yourself, because in that field, unless you know a lot about supplements and the other people know it, it has to do with respect. In that field of supplementation, many times you do not have the respect. And that is totally logical. If I get a lot of respect for my network marketing skills because people know I build teams and I can actually prove it. Okay, I can actually show that I built a lot of teams. So I get the respect when it comes down to network marketing. But when I suddenly start talking about the curcuma product with this friend of mine this afternoon at 2 o'clock, he trusts me, but there is no respect when it comes down to supplementation. Well, in this case, a little bit, because he knows that I was very interested in also selling vitamins before, but I'm not a medical doctor. I don't give webinars about health and stuff like that. That's why I always tell about Roy. For me, Roy is the person for me that a lot of people respect. Do you know Roy Martina? Yes. Well, I'm in a business with him. You can say exactly the same words. Guys, you are also in a business with Roy Martina. So that's what I say. Do you know Roy Martina? How many times they say, oh yeah, I know. And sometimes they say, oh, Roy, oh yeah, he's a fraud. I know him. That guy is always full of scam. Okay, well, then you think differently about Roy than me. Yeah, that sometimes happens. That also sometimes happens with me. If you tell my name, you say, oh, we get trained in network marketing with Mordecai Crispijn. Some people will tell you, oh, full with bullshit. Well, that might be a chance. I see Bob's laughing, but yeah, there's a chance that is total bullshit. Okay, well then try someone else. Do you know Roy Martina? Also bullshit. Do you know Winston? Oh yeah, I love that guy. Okay, let's focus on Winston. No, but many times it's not a trust issue. So when they say no to your invitation, it's not because they don't trust you. Okay. Now, when you go to the me story, it always has to be your own personal, authentic story. It has to be real. You cannot lie, and you don't have to lie. The opportunity is more than good enough, okay? You don't have to lie to get someone into a meeting. The opportunity is more than good enough, okay? And the earnings also. But as I explained you many times in network marketing, you do a lot of work in the beginning for something that you get paid for later on, okay? So your me story, you can just tell, why did you start this business? Many times you get back to your authentic story. And maybe Winston will also help you with forming that story later on, okay? And what is your goal? And you can just tell them that, okay? So for example, this afternoon I'm sitting with my friends, and then I tell, well, I'm doing this business with Roy Martina. Have you heard of it? Huh? Heard what? Oh, you didn't hear it? Well, there is this business going on, and we're going to spread it throughout Europe. It's based on curcuma. Have you heard of curcuma? And they just start asking questions. And I tell them, well, I actually thought it was very interesting. We built a group with 4 people. We now have more than like 100 people in the community. And our goal is to get as many people, first of all, healthy, and second, to give them a financial benefit doing this, okay? Like a partly income while doing this. Many times that person is interested to listen. And now you have to be very careful. Okay, tell me about it. I say, well, what are you doing on such and such a date and such time? So what are you doing on this date and that time? Check your calendar. Oh, nothing yet. Okay, place it in your calendar. We have a webinar. If I am sending you the link to the webinar, are you willing to watch? because that's where everything is going to be explained. So now the person is very curious, and the chances of him showing up is huge. And I'm pretty sure you can learn something, because that's true. You always learn something from the webinars. So even then, when somebody tells me, tell me about it, I'm not going to tell you about it. I send you to the webinar. And by now, I am able to tell a lot about everything, but I'm not. I send them to the webinar. Okay, so because I take myself out of the equation in that part. Okay, then the third party, for me, that's always Roy and Winston and Sven, because we have a nice team. And then I refer to other people. Roy Martina tested it with a lot of people. He's still testing it. I find it awesome because we are together in this group. And as you notice, Roy, I don't know how he does it, but he reads everything and he listens to everything. And Roy himself is replying in the WhatsApp. So then I tell people, and I think that's a USP, that's a unique selling product. I tell people, look, Roy Martina is part of the team. People are asking him a lot of questions about health, and he's always answering. And what I like about Roy is he's not always telling that you should take Vidafy. He also tells you to take other products. Or you can check over there. Sometimes he has his own product or he has his own reading. And people ask all kinds of questions about dementia and depression. And he has an answer to pretty much everything. So for me, he is a huge referral. Okay, so I refer to Roy all the time when it comes down to the product. And when it comes down to the network marketing part, I tell about Winston, because yeah, he is for me the best public speaking coach that I know. I tell about Sven, he's one of the best marketeers that I know. So I refer to their knowledge and their success. Okay. How to invite. Some small tips by social media, by Messenger, WhatsApp, and when you meet someone. Actually, I also have a full telephone script, but many times we do not like to call so much. Many times we are just surprised if somebody is calling at all, because people are not using telephone so much anymore. People are just messaging. Okay, so I can give you the whole script of how to do it by phone, which is very nice, but most people are using those tools. Okay, so by social media, many times when you use social media, it's very nice to just post interesting information. Okay, and yeah, I cannot say it often enough, and I know that I'm gonna make people a little bit sad or even upset sometimes, but please, people, stop sharing about all kinds of crazy things of your personal life on Facebook and Instagram. Stop doing that. You know, nobody's interested. They will give you a like because they feel that they should. Many times they give you a like because they want your like the next time when they do the same. But stop sharing all those crazy stories about your personal life that you got in your car and that your husband left some mess in the car. And what I see passing by, my God, at least it saves me a lot of time because I don't have to read it anymore. But when people start to understand how social media works and how marketing works, it's about valuable content. We are learning creatures. We want to grow. That's one of our basic necessities in life. So as soon as you see something that you learn, people will start liking you because it was you that shared the content. Okay? So if you are eating an ice cream, or if you are at a restaurant, I don't need to see your pictures of your food. Okay? I don't need it. And most people are not waiting for that. People, please. 1 out of hundreds might look at your food and go, oh, where is that? So please be functional, because you want to see this as a business. So whenever you share something, there should always be an element. And again, guys, this is my interpretation. Okay, I was doing the same. I was going to Florencia. We have a very nice ice cream shop here in The Hague, and I would stand there and make a selfie. I'm at Florencia. Well, who the hell cares? Nobody. Okay, like, you know what's funny? I get 150 likes for that, and you get only 10 likes for something that you share of value. But now it comes. The value part stays in the unconscious part of the mind. Because the moment that you share something of value with content, they will start reading it. And the first time they forget. The second time you play something of content, of valuable content, they go, hey, that is from that guy. He is sharing valuable information. And then they don't even start liking you. They start following you. That's how it works. And then many times, if you keep sharing valuable content, about the same kind of topic, you will get into conversations. And what I many times do, I tell them, okay, guys, if you want to know more, please send me a PM, a personal message. And then you continue the conversation, you ask some questions, you invite them for a meeting, and you invite them to watch a replay if the meeting is too far away. Okay, if you see that it takes about 2 weeks for the next meeting, then invite them for a replay. And then we go again. If I am sending you this link, are you willing to watch? Okay, I'm going to go into that later. Then with Messenger WhatsApp, many times there are people that you already know with WhatsApp, so make it personal. What I sometimes do, very short, I just send them a voice message. Hey, you know, I'm into something new, and I think and I had to think of you, which is basically true, because when I send them a WhatsApp, I need to think of them. Okay, I have something new, and I was thinking of you. Do you have some time? Do you have 2 minutes? Something interesting for you, I think. And invite them for a meeting. And again, invite them to watch a replay if the meeting is too far ahead. It's always the same. When you meet someone one-on-one, that many times is a bit different, because when you meet someone in a meeting, there is more time. So always get into a conversation and ask questions, okay? We have this rule, 70-30. You want to be talking 30% max, and the other one 70. Now, a lot of people do not have any problems with talking to you 70% of the time, because many times people talk about themselves and they like that. To compliment, it has to be authentic. Okay, don't give a compliment for the sake of the compliment. But I know that one of my business partners, Ingrid, she is outstanding in giving compliments. We're sitting somewhere having a lunch, and the first thing she always says to a waiter, and she means it: wow, you look great. Wow, you have this nice expression on your face. Wow, you have this, you know, she's always complimenting people. And then she gets into a conversation. And then you always have the sentence, if I were you. Okay, if I am sending you the link, would you be willing to watch the presentation? If I am giving you the product, would you be willing to try it for a month? Etc., etc. Okay, do you have any plans for Monday at 8 o'clock, for example? You make it very concrete. Okay, so that's one-on-one. Then, this is also nice. When you get into conversations, and this is actually based on the experience of the last 2 weeks, that people tell me, yeah, I'm getting into conversation about life and hobbies and job, etc., which is very nice, but they don't know how to get out of it. And the way to break the conversation is just go in the middle. Have you heard the news? News? What news? Oh, you didn't hear it. Have you heard what we are doing with Roy Martina? That's what I usually say. And it usually leads to a part of education. Okay, so have you heard the news is a great way to pull people out of their own story, because many times they can talk for hours, okay? And then you can invite them for a meeting or replay. Have you heard the latest news? It's something that people put their minds on immediately. Okay, and this is also nice. Those are the 4 questions. If I would you, okay, I just told you that. And now make it concrete. Okay, so for example, this is what I use for replays. Okay, because with a webinar, I can just say, if I am sending you the link, would you be willing to watch? But now it comes with a replay. It's totally different, because the replay, they can watch whenever they want. Okay, so what do? I say, okay, if I am sending you the link for the replay, are you willing to watch? Yes, that's my first question. When are you going to watch the replay? I will let you know. No. Look, I'm sending you the link. I have a very full calendar. So can you tell me when you're going to watch the replay? And then many times they don't know. I say, what are you doing tomorrow morning at 10 o'clock? Then we watch it together. I go very far, guys, in saving my time and also for the other. And they say, okay, no, I will watch it tomorrow morning, but you don't have to join me, for example. And then I say, okay, for sure. Yeah. Okay. So what time can we meet after you watch the webinar? Because you're going to watch tomorrow morning 10. Shall we meet at 1 o'clock? Make it very specific. Most people that send a link for a replay, I had a conversation with one of my business partners yesterday, and she said, yeah, I have 2 people in the pipeline. I said, okay, how does that look like? 2 people in the pipeline, where? what? Yeah, I send them a replay, and they're going to watch. Okay, when? Yeah, no idea. They will let me know. No. When are you going to watch the replay? if you don't tell me when you're going to watch and what time, I'm not going to send you the link at all. Because I'm very busy, okay? So make it very specific. Okay, our goal is education and understanding. That is our goal. Education and understanding. That is it. We want the other ones to understand you in terms of the product, and we want to understand the other one also. We want to understand the other one's needs. It's all about education and understanding. So that means when you put something on Facebook, please, people, share value, something that people can learn from. Wow, interesting. I didn't know that. Who is that guy? Who is that lady that has been posting about kurkuma products or about kurkuma ingredients, about prevention of infections and stuff like that? Who is that? Interesting. So it can even be a recipe for a juice that you make with kurkuma drops. It can even be putting your drops in the coffee, but it needs some valuable information. Okay, and then I'm pretty sure that the whole Facebook would change. People would start sharing valuable information. And a lot of people would just go there and take all the valuable information instead of just putting likes at ice creams. Okay, and then this is the final, and then I'm going to give the word to Winston. Remember this, people, you never lose. You either win or you learn. Okay, so you don't lose. You cannot fail. The only time you can really fail is when you totally give up. For me, in my book, that's failing. But as long as you do not give up, you either win or you learn. That's it. Okay, and it takes quite a lot of mindset because you will get resistance. Okay, and that resistance will make you stronger. Any questions? I saw something passing by in the chat. If you have any questions, you can turn on your mic if you want to. I see something in the chat, but I don't know if it's questions. Posture, yeah, houding, very good. Yeah, that's a Dutch word for posture indeed. Yeah. Okay, so people, if you start to invite, and that is where the power comes. Now I come back to the entire beginning. Yes, we have a marketing machine. Yes, but there is no bigger marketing machine than you. You plus one doubles the entire organization. I don't know if you ever heard me speak on a demonstration, okay, because at demonstration, I believe in demonstrations, but I also believe that it only works with masses. Okay, if I'm on a little football field with 5 people or 10 or 100, it's beautiful to connect because I build a lot of friendships. So for sure, I love to go there. But when you want to send a message, you need masses. So what I always said, you plus one the next time, we are with double. And if you do that every month, yeah, one time it happened, and that's about 2 years ago in September, there were 100,000 people walking through Amsterdam, just spreading their message. That was not you plus one, that was you plus 10. Okay, and in network marketing it's the same. You plus one doubles the entire organization. So if until now you have not invited people, please start inviting, because the best marketing machine is word to mouth. Still, it has been like this for thousands of years, and it will never ever change. No advertisement, no video of someone that you have never heard of or seen will convince you to go to a webinar. I still think it's very miraculous that Sven is doing the marketing and that it even works. I am surprised that the marketing works, because it's very hard, because there's so much free information going on. But if you are inviting me personally for a webinar, it's a complete different ballgame, because that's not marketing. That is just you being excited, sharing an opportunity. That's completely different. Okay, Winston, I'm giving the word to you.
Thank you again, Maury. And there were no questions, so that makes your presentation very clear and transparent. Your storytelling quality is on the highest level. Just nod to me if that's correct for everybody. Okay, so Maury just gave you some outlines of tools that you need, and my part is to make that into a tangible product. So that means you have to practice. And just a little bit about my background. If I did not step out of my comfort zone as a drummer, sitting behind my drums, being safe and watching everybody, and then move to the front and to become a storyteller, I would not have been here and sit here with you and have this opportunity. So what I'm saying is, it's going to be uncomfortable for this moment. I'm going to take you out of your comfort zone, because the only way for me to learn is by having resistance. And so I don't mind you being resistant now if that happens. So I'm going to start by saying, I need all the cameras to be on. If you cannot, because well, then you bounce. So that's clear. So we need this participation, because I want to practice with you how to be uncomfortable is to do something that's not comfortable. And like I said, I went into my storytelling, and I was not confident when I started, because I was stuttering, and my lips were shaking, my knees were buckling. I was not comfortable at all. But in my mind, I knew that I had a story. Like, you all know that you have a story. So, but what is that story? What is it? What is the story you're telling yourself about why you're doing this product? Now, if I go into a breakout room in a moment, then I could put you in a room with somebody and you try to convince that person about your story. That's the idea. But let me go back a little bit. So Maury talked about inviting people. So the reason is, why are you inviting people? Just write that down for me. For yourself, well, we're sharing, but why would you invite somebody? Just be honest. Is it about you want to get rich? Is it about you want to make show that you have a nice network? Why are you inviting somebody? Why would you invite somebody? Just write that down. Why am I inviting somebody? For whatever. So basically, I'm helping you to go back to connecting to yourself first. What is your purpose? What is your intention? And then direct it outside. Why would you just make it clear, make it tangible? Why would you invite somebody? What is the story behind that process?
Yes,
So why?
Winston, I don't need to write it, but I'll just say it to you.
Are you going to say it to me?
Yes, I'm going to say it to you.
Okay, come on.
One thing is, it's about the product. For me, that's the first priority. You can find out that the product is very good, and you're going to help a lot of people over there based on all the stories that I heard. So that is first reason why I would think it's better to invite other people in this thing to them, so themselves they can get better. Because the world today, there are a lot of people with a lot of health problems. So the benefit for me is the health issue, the health benefits which the product we give to these people.
Okay.
And
So
secondly,
let's do one.
There is the second part.
I love your enthusiasm. So let's make this practical, right? So I'm the guy you're going to invite. So we just to make it practical. So I'm the guy you're going to invite. So what are you saying to me?
One, I will say to you first, this is one, it's a very important product which will disrupt the whole health industry, because it has been researched. So
you lost me already.
Yeah.
Lost me.
Let's talk. Yeah.
No, I mean, you lost me. So I said it, I would make it uncomfortable. So
that's okay.
Why should I listen to you? Did you ask my permission to listen to you? You know what I mean?
Yes, I need, because you ask. If you
ask, you have to ask for permission. Yes. Listen, this goes for everybody. Anytime you speak to somebody, the only time you are disrupting their energy or disturbing them is when you are not interesting. And Maurice said it. He said, I asked permission for 2 minutes of their time. You always have to ask permission, even if it's for 1 second, because everybody has priorities and you are not their priority. Even though you think you have the best product, even if you think you have the best story, you are disrupting. So be very respectful and be very humble. ask for permission. So then start again.
Thank you. Do you have 2 minutes of your time for me?
Well, 2 minutes is a bit long. Can you do it in 30 seconds?
Yes, I will.
I'm timing you now.
Good.
Wait. Go.
I come across a product that I would like to share with you, which I find very important for you and for every people in the world today.
So what is it about? What is it about?
The product is about tackling all kind of disease that you ever imagine today in human life.
Okay, so are there studies about this?
Yes. There are about 18,000 studies which already undergone for this product, and it's still ongoing.
So what did you learn from this?
What I learned is that, first of all, you try to put me to the point, what is the product, why am I inviting, and what the benefit.
So if we're all listening to you, right? So if this is a real situation, because you could feel his uncomfortable energy, but Morty gave us a stack of tools to go by. Is this the best one for somebody you don't know to talk about the product? Or is it better to say, hey, listen, I wrote it down.
Yeah, I got it.
I wrote it down. If I would have something that is blah, blah, gonna give you more energy, gonna give you more sleep, I'm gonna give you more rest, would you be interested?
Yes.
Right? Yeah. To me, it's to keep it simple. Because now I gave you 30 seconds, because if I didn't give you 30 seconds, you would be talking and talking and talking. Okay, so and it's great that you are the example now, because I know you're knowledgeable and you're passionate. We talked about the passion. And while Maury was working and doing his thing, I was thinking, so how can I give them an example of a story that definitely will make an impression? So what happened to the listeners? Because I see people sitting up like this now. What happened to you when you listened to that conversation? Just give us some bit feedback, because I'm talking to my friend here, but actually I'm talking to you, because you would have done the same thing, right? So give us some feedback. What did you learn from this little exercise that took 30 seconds? And what can you do to basically take the teachings of Maury, who's an expert in this, and now apply it to the conversation? What did you learn? Who wants to talk to me? Don't be shy, because I told you you're going to be uncomfortable. Okay, Sita, go ahead.
What I learned, it was short, simple, but powerful. That's all. Keep it simple. I learned.
Good. And what else? Who else? Yes.
Yeah, I also found that he was very brief. So he managed to put everything together in the 30 seconds. But when you started asking questions and he started answering, it will escalate to a lot more questions. And that's how you get stuck, I think.
Exactly.
Answering all the questions. That's what I do anyhow.
You
answer
all the questions?
Yeah, exactly. In the beginning, you answer all the questions, and you get in a lot of trouble because in the beginning you don't know the project well.
Yep. And that's great. So I'm happy your response is, don't try to answer all the questions. And one of the things you said about disease and stuff, you don't want to do that, because that's not compliant to what the company policy is. You only want to speak about, like Maurice said, your health, your experience, the the energy you're getting. Like, let's talk about, I was so tired. Now I feel more energetic. In my case, so I talked to somebody, I said, hey, you know what? You know, I'm a public speaker, right? They go, yeah. You're a storyteller. I said, yeah. And I train people as well. You know that I had problems with my short-term memory. I could not recall what I was speaking about while I was training people. They go, really? I never noticed. I said, yeah, because I joked about it. And I just asked them, so okay, I'm going to test you. What was I talking about 2 seconds ago? So you were not joking. No, I wasn't joking because I really did not remember. And you know, the funny thing is, I'm using a product now. And I can pause that, right? I'm using a product and wait for that to, what is it? And I'm just giving an example. This is a real life situation for me. I'm not even joking. This is what's happening with me now. My memory retention is getting better by using this product. And you can tell this story to somebody. Oh, I know a guy, he's a great storyteller. You don't have to say great, just say he's a storyteller. And this is what happened to him. That's a consistent and a congruent story. They can check with me and it will happen. So what else did you learn from the exercise I did with my friend? Please, this is an interactive moment. Okay, Esther, come on.
Yeah, that you have to keep it short. Yeah, and not talk about everything else, but lead them to a webinar or something else. But that's I have to train. Yeah, my English is not so very well. I haven't talked English for a very long time, so so I have to search for the words. Keep it short and lead them to something that the action comes, but not long. A long conversation.
Exactly. And just about your English, I'm just being hands-on here. The moment you start to speak in a language that is not your own, your mother tongue or whatever, slow down.
Okay.
Slow down, because slowing down means you're taking your time. And you know, the funny thing is, I have the same thing because it's not my mother tongue, but I slow down and I had to overcome the fear of failure in speaking English. And I can
Yes.
understand you explaining yourself, right? Now, what I discovered traveling all over the world is that people that listen to somebody that is not a native speaker, they respect you for trying. Doesn't matter what language it is. They respect you for trying. The only thing I teach people when I teach them in public speaking, don't try to speak the language the same way you speak your native language.
Okay. And keep it easy, easier,
Keep it simple.
slower.
Slow it down and keep it simple. I traveled to Cambodia and I teach public speaking there, and they tell me, teacher, I love the way you speak English. And I'm like, this is the first. And they say, well, we can understand you. Why? I speak very deliberately and slowly. And even if I mess up some words, they don't mind because they know I'm not a native speaker. Now let's reel back and say, okay, this is storytelling 101. What is it? That's what they say, right? Now transfer this to Dutch. Even though you're an eloquent speaker in Dutch, slow down your speech.
Yes.
Because it's not about you. Maurice said it. When you speak, when you talk to somebody, it's not about you. It's about making clear that the other one really hears you, understands you, and feels the words that you are using. So even in Dutch, slow down. Take your time to be interesting. Okay. Thank you, Esther.
You're welcome.
Who else?
Another thing that I find very important is being interested in the other by asking a question. Yeah, that is a way that I often use with everything I do, and it really makes a difference.
Absolutely. And asking a question, ask an interesting question. Not just a question, just an interesting question. It's like, how do you start a conversation? Let me just diverse a little bit, because when I think what in my mind I'm constantly thinking of without thinking of is be authentic, right? We talked about that. Be yourself and have something to talk, find a talking point. Well, I had hair once in my life, and I made it interesting because I was a drummer, and I made sure that when I was on stage, people recognized me from afar because I was the artist. And it was easy because people came to me to talk about my hair, just my hair. Oh, and they touched me. They said, hey, how did you do? And well, you know, we can talk about. And I was like a billboard for my niece that she was braiding my hair. She had so many clients by that. So how can you transfer this into business? Wear something interesting, just like a scarf or a button, or somebody said, find something. I wear a hat now. I have a bowler hat. I could have worn anything on my head, right? But I chose something that felt great for me. But now it's a talking point. You would not believe how many people talk to me just because of the hat. Just because of the hat. And I'm not saying that you should wear a bowler hat now. I'm just saying, find yourself in understanding that it's about communication. It's about finding things to speak about and be interesting and be interested. So when you see somebody with a bowler hat, you go, hey, wow, like this one or this thing I have here, it could be a nice talking point. So it's not very sophisticated, but it makes it very easy, in my opinion. And that's why I find it easy to speak to people, because I always find something. Oh, nice shoes. my broker from my house, he had nice shoes, and I said, nice shoes. And we were talking about selling the house, and I had 4 brokers coming up to check my house, to sell the house of my brother that he passed away. And the funny thing is, all of them were nice. All of them had a nice story to tell me. And you know what? The guy with the nice shoes, I said, you got nice shoes? He goes, yeah, I love shoes. And I love shoes too. And he said, well, you know, I love shoes because, you know, And then he said, oh yeah, oh, I cannot make it tomorrow, so let's do it because I'm going to do salsa dancing. Cling. I said, oh, you do salsa dancing? I said, yeah, I have a friend, Maury, you know, he's the, and I start talking, and he goes, oh yeah, I used to teach, and he got the job. He's the broker now, just from having this talking point. And this, I think it's fascinating when you connect, and this line in NLP is, I think it's very important for what we're doing. And this, it sounds like this: people like people that look like them, talk like them, eat like them, dance like them. You can go on with that, right? So whenever you're connecting with somebody, it is because there is something that you have similar. Well, knowing that, I think your life will be easier in network marketing, in life in general, because now you can find similarities in people and just address it, right? I think that's the simplest way to connect. I wanted to say do business, but to connect, to tell a story, to find a story to tell. People like people that look like them, talk like them, act like them, dance like them. So when you're walking on the street and you see people, you can talk to anybody, and there's no limitation. A friend of mine said, how do I start a conversation? Well, take a coin and flip it. And where it falls down, that's where you start. Okay? And then take the lessons that Maury gave you, and I would say, don't have one talking point. Just take, he gave us 5 or 6, and then have a story for each one. You find somebody interesting and you say, hey, I like your shoes, or I like your hat, or I like this, or what school did you go to? Or I don't care, but make it interesting for you, because I think network marketing is about people marketing. It's about social skills, it's about, I tell Anansi stories, and I came up with an Anansi metaphor of business. Anansi is a spider in West Africa and, traveled to all over the world. And I said to myself, so why am I, quote unquote, successful as a storyteller? Because I became successful in telling the story about the story. So I branched out my network and just go into my head a little bit. What does a spider do? Build a network. Spread like a web, spins a web, and knows exactly when an insect falls in his web, right? Or her web. And knows the shortest way, right? The shortest way in the coordinates to go and collect. Do you have your network? Do you have your list of people that you can find, click, go? There it is. To me, that's what network marketing is. And that's what storytelling is, to find the easiest way to be authentic and to tell the story, and it's about that person. Let me see if I can put you in a breakout room, but we need all people available now. And when you're watching this in the replay, find somebody and do this exercise with him. I would ask you, I'm going to give you only 5 minutes for this exercise, because I want you to do it twice. Okay. So this means you're going to be in a breakout room, and the exercise that I did with my friend, I want you to do that. You just, hey, can I ask you a question, or find one of the talking points here, or look at them and say, oh, I like your glasses. Where did you buy them? Like I'm looking at Sita now. Where did you buy your glasses? Or anything, right? And ask permission and give them a referral to the webinar or to the whatever. Just find something and exercise. Practice with it. I'm going to give you 5 minutes, so each one would do it once, and then we'll come back. Is that okay for you? Say yes. Okay, with a smile. Okay, let me see if it will work. We got, so what is it, 16 people, so 14. I'm going to make 7 rooms. It might not go perfectly, but we'll work with it. There we go. Have fun. So Maury, if you put in a room, then we'll see what happens. Well, so far so good. See if everybody's divided. Charlotte. Vera, you're not placed in a group. Let me see what happened. Ah, there we go. 2 more.
Dan zijn dat ze misschien aan het werk zijn. Wat ik meestal doe, zet ik ze in de waiting room tijdelijk.
Sorry, in de?
In de waiting room. Dus
Okay.
dat mensen, als ze de uitnodiging niet accepteren.
Ja, nee, ik zie ze nu. Het gaat heel vreemd. Oh ja, daar gaan ze.
Ja, ik zet hem in de waiting room. Ze zijn nu allemaal in de waiting room.
Oké, cool.
Oh, cool man. Dan zijn we lekker bezig.
Nee, klopt. Ja, het is, it is. I have to transfer my mind to English again. So Esther, how was it?
Oh yeah, we're going in English.
Yeah, I know.
I was
to practice
with Marijke, maar dat is.
Okay, well, I'm happy that you could practice, because some technical difficulties, but just wait 1 second, and then we'll wait till the other ones come in.
I have to go to the toilet. Can I?
Yeah, please do. Please do. Okay.
opgenomen. Oké, fijn.
What? Come again? Okay. I thought somebody said something. Okay, please. How were you able? Let me start by asking. Were you able to practice?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, that's great. I'm happy with that. So next time we have to prepare that whole program.
Die is hier groot.
Okay.
Als je dan naar beneden gaat, zie je daar links.
Oh yeah, wait a minute. Let me tell you. Okay, so you were able to practice. How was it? Who can give me some feedback? Because we're gonna round off, but I just needed some feedback of how that exercise worked for you. Who? Help me out. Yes, Miss. It says Marijke, but I know you're not Marijke. Yes, unmute your mic, please.
Yes, I was with Esther, who
She went to the toilet, yeah.
she went to the toilet. It was very nice for me. I had a bond with Esther because it's also for me long ago that I spoke English. So we had a connection there. But it was nice to practice the invitation. I am very enthusiastic and have the tendency of going too fast to overwhelm people with the information. So it was a good practice. I learned a lot today.
You make me very happy. Absolutely. No, seriously, you make me very happy because I hear you speaking slower.
Yeah.
And understanding that it's not about the, overwhelming people. It's about the connection that you make. Esther,
Yeah.
Thank you. And Esther, you had you're here. How was it for you? Let's
It was very good with Frans. We had a little struggle how to begin the conversation, but then something, Frans said something about his life, and then I was triggered, and then I became enthusiastic. So that was good. I recognized his symptoms, what he told. So he got it right. Yeah.
Absolutely. Okay, so you guys had a connection just by connecting with the people and blah blah blah, and so the connection was real, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
Awesome. Awesome. Thank you. We have a couple of minutes more, but I would just one or two more. What can you give me and Maury as a feedback from the exercise and to apply and be uncomfortable? Who wants to speak to us?
I have hesitation with the product because of my own background, and that I find difficult because I'm a homeopath and I'm searching always for help from inside, people being more receptive to what they take in and become healthy that way. So a product from outside is always a little bit difficult for me, all kinds of supplements. But I'm interested in this one to learn more about it because of what Monique, I think I'm not.
Yeah, Monique, yeah.
Of
Monica.
to me. Yes,
Monica,
because there is more reception from this product into the body. And then I'm interested in, of course, hearing through a seminar or a webinar more about how that works. That is a professional interest, of course, but that is the way it works. So she was a really good seller to me in that sense.
So she told you a great story.
She told a good story, really.
See, that's what we're talking about. And actually, when you said about the reception and absorption in the body, what I learned from Roy, and I studied this line, he says, the difference between the kurkuma of other people and what we have with Vidafy is that it absorbs 277 times better, and it stays in your body 24 hours rather than 2 hours. And you know what the magical part of it is? It goes through your blood-brain barrier. I was like, that sounds amazing.
That is superfood.
I sound very smart by saying that, right?
Mhm.
I'm not that smart. I just listen to Roy, who is knowledgeable about that. And this is what Vidafy says. And I repeat it. And I sound smart. So yes, it's great to have a great story. You don't have to come up with these things. It's already there, right?
Yes.
Thank you, Sadie. Let's do one more, and then we're going to close
Yeah.
the training for today.
So Winston, can I? So thank you, Sadie, because that was like how that she feels like it was a good story. And when I look at when I think back to what I said, then I still feel like maybe I'm too long, that it's still like it attracted her because that was that maybe I shared something that it caught her attention, but maybe for other people it can be long, so I have maybe more, I would like some tips how to make it shorter, like more powerful and shorter the story. It's like people know me, and the people who know me, that they know I am into health and lifestyle and mindfulness and these kind of things. Those will know that when they come to me, then I can talk more about it. But really, new people to approach,
Let me help you out.
quicker.
Let me help you out, because I can see your challenge. What I did with my friend, it's Musa, right? Yeah. Okay. What I did with my friend Musa was, he asked me 2 minutes, and I said 30 seconds.
Yeah.
So when you think of, okay, I'm going to do it in 5 minutes, just cut it in a quarter, make it a quarter, and challenge yourself to do it in less. Less is more. If you can bring your story to 30 seconds, I think you will be far more interesting in creating hunger. Because in storytelling, to me, it's about creating hunger. It's not about the story. It's what comes next. If I cannot instigate and trigger you to be curious to what's coming next, I'm not a good storyteller. So if you can tell that story in 30 seconds, it's like, tell me more. When you find yourself going like this, go, huh? That's what the story becomes interesting. And we're starting with public speaking now, with this exercise, but we will just do this. We will practice these things from what I've learned over the 35 years that I've been doing this, and make you an authentic storyteller. So that's what my promise is to you.
Thank
Well,
you.
Maury, do you want to add something? Because we're going to round it up. We're done. We're overdue.
Yeah, well, what is nice to know is that I was teaching for many years, salsa, and yeah, it made me a good teacher, and also it learned me a lot about how to communicate. But when I met Winston, I remember I was one time just at this place where we meet, and he would just tell me, "Okay, can you stand up?" And I remember that I wouldn't show him, but internally I was like, "Why would he ask me to stand up?" Okay, stand. Say your name. And I was like, say your name? Okay. And I said my name. But of course, there are all these mental processes going on. And then he said, well, do you have one name or do you have two names? And I was like, no idea. And just by bringing that into the whole story, I was like, well, I have two names. He said, well, it sounds like one. Can you say it again? And then it started changing. And it was incredible. So I invited him to teach my teachers, the salsa teachers, how to bring their message across. And I remember that there were times that you were doing the teaching, people were in tears because they started to remember. You remember that time, in the Torah stand.
Yes.
There was this guy just crying because he was able to connect with himself through learning how to tell his story. And so, yeah, I'm happy that you just made that promise. So, guys, in 2 weeks, please remember we're going to be here and bring it to the next level.
We're going to take more time to practice, but just prepare yourself and take the lessons and the tools that Maury gave you and start preparing yourself. Storytelling is all about preparation and then letting go. Because I don't want you to study the story. It's like you have to be authentic. You have to be connected. And oh, this is just the last thing. One of my clients, one of my VIP clients, I interviewed her and I posted on LinkedIn. First time I did this. Listen to that and you'll hear how enthusiastic she is about being content with her authenticity. You know, that's what it's about. You don't have to copy me. You don't have to copy Roy. You don't have to copy Maury. Be yourself. And within that, be very powerful. I wish you a great weekend. And I wish you many, many connections. See you. Bye-bye.
The next webinar, 25th of April. I just put the link in the chat. Okay. So if you remember that, you can start sharing. Okay. You plus one. Okay. Bye-bye.
Yes, thanks.
Thank you.